joined today by Ray Milnes, partner and national industry sector leader for real estate with KPMG in Chicago. Ray, thanks for joining us. Ray, the global standard setters and regulators are moving down the path toward developing a single converged set of accounting standards. What do you believe to be the major implications of this convergence for REITs?
I think the most significant impact is going to be the fact that the converged standards will be based on a concept, a principle of using fair value as the accounting. And I think that the REIT industry in particular has been hamstrung a little bit by virtue of the fact that the historical cost basis of accounting that we've all used over the years provides for depreciation and the like and doesn't allow for fair valuing. Consequently, I think that the investors will be better served by virtue of the fact that they will have a better view, more transparency relative to fair value.
Now, more specifically, I understand that the FASB and IASB are considering changing the way lessors and lessees account for leases. And those possible changes could impact not only accounting by REITs, but also the business of real estate companies in certain sectors. Do you have any thoughts with respect to this concern?
I do. I would say to you that first, let me put in perspective as to what the proposal is for lessees and lessors. Lessees, as that's further down the track, would provide for them to have to basically present value the lease stream as a liability as they have the right to use the space. And that will cause them to have more liabilities on their books. I believe that that will, from a business perspective, lead many of them possibly to either buy their own buildings and not have this liability up there, or negotiate for shorter lease terms so that they would have a smaller liability on their balance sheet. From a lessor perspective, the standard setters have gone down the path of proposing that there would be parallel treatment such that the lessors would not have buildings on their books, but rather would have lease receivables and would not recognize rents, but would recognize interest income. The real estate industry, and in particular NAREIT, has been very vocal as it relates to that. And so there is a new proposal that would adjust that and basically would allow for lessors not to have to go down that particular path, provided that they were to follow fair value accounting. So we need to get fair value accounting as a standard in order to be able to help this.
Beyond converging U.S. and international accounting rules, the SEC is considering a requirement for U.S. companies to adopt international financial reporting standards in their financial statements in the next few years. Now, do you think this adoption of IFRS will expand the sources of capital available to U.S. REITs?
I think this will help. Again, the majority of the world is using IFRS as we speak, or converting in the near term. The U.S. is basically an outlier. And I think that the investors are comfortable with that. Also, as I mentioned before, the standards are based on fair value. And I think there's more transparency as to what the real value of the underlying assets would be on the face of the financial statements by virtue of the fact that you were to use IFRS. So I think that that is going to be just an additional enticer for people to come to the U.S. and invest.
Switching gears, what one current trend in the REIT industry do you find most encouraging?
Well, I am encouraged by the virtue of the fact that the REIT industry was able to raise almost $38 billion worth of debt and equity last year in a very difficult market. So I think that that tells us that the capital markets are back embracing real estate and REITs in particular. And one of the things that I find also encouraging is the fact that we have a number of companies that are pursuing IPOs so that they believe, and I think the investors have recalibrated their return expectations looking to cash flowing assets, which was what REITs are, as it relates to wanting to come back into the market.
Great. Ray, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
For REIT.com, I'm Matt Bishar.